I just don't like Andrew Tate.
Why?
A little misogynistic.
What do you mean by that?
He just hates women.
He has multiple wives. It's not possible if he hates women.
I mean, fair enough. Honestly, fair enough. You can have it.
If you had a daughter, would you let her work for Andrew Tate?
I wouldn't have an issue with it.
You know, it's funny, I already have a daughter, and no.
No chance on God's green earth.
Is that a rhetorical question?
No, dude.
Would you let your daughter work for Andrew Tate?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, 100%. Andrew Tate's not a bad guy.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Because I would hug her so she would have some self-respect. If my daughter worked for him, I know she'd be successful in the sense of like learning from him, his financial, his business, and everything he does in that sense of the world. So.
No,
Why?
because he's a pedophile.
Where did you see that?
I go into the deep depths of the internet. Trust me.
Appreciate it.
Oh, it's starting to smell them. If you had a daughter, would you let her work for Andrew Tate?
I probably wouldn't.
I can't say what I'd let my daughter do, but that guy sucks and I'd tell her not to.
I don't really know who that dude is.
Never heard of Andrew Tate?
I have. I just don't know what he does.
I don't know much about Andrew Tate, but I do know that he's a whore.
Why do you think that?
Because media makes him seem like a which I can't confirm.
Would you let her work for him?
Absolutely not.
Why?
I've seen YouTube. Like, I know what's going on with him.
What's going on?
I've heard some of the very misogynistic things he's had to say. Do not agree. Do not agree.
What are some of the things he said?
The way that he's described women as, like, subservient to men. I'm all about female empowerment. I want my daughter to be able to have options.
I mean, he might articulate some of his points in a way that's a little questionable, but for the most part, Andrew Tate has some very great points, especially on about how to be a good man. And he's never really treated a girl in the wrong way. The girls that he has back him up. They all support that same sentiment.
Do you think some of the things he says are a little bit satire? And is it just to play up a character?
Oh, for sure, for sure. I definitely feel that. Or the way that he tries to make that part of his persona is problematic for me.
Say he gives her like a $300K salary. She's his assistant. He really takes care of her. You still wouldn't let her get that opportunity?
No. Him giving her that much money a year doesn't mean anything if you don't like your job.
Okay, but what if she liked her job and that's what she wanted to do? Would that be something you're okay with?
I would be okay with it. That's my daughter's choice, man. But at the end of the day, as much money you think somebody will make, the life is miserable. Be honest with you. You can make $300,000 a year, $500,000 a year, but at the end of the day, if you're not happy within yourself, then what are you doing with your life? That money's not gonna make you happy. Look at these celebrities, man. You know, all this money, but their hair still. Mental health is a big issue, male or female, it doesn't matter.
So if he offered your daughter $300,000 to be his assistant, takes care of her, would you still let her work for him?
No chance.
Why?
I'm really good at scratchers, so if I could scratch $300,000 on a slow Tuesday, if I can do that on a slow Tuesday, she does not need to be working for Andrew Tate. Elon Musk, no chance either.
Why?
Because it's not about the money, it's about the heart, dog.
What do you do for work?
I'm a software consultant.
I thought you were good at scratchers.
I'm good at scratchers and I'm a software consultant. I can be both.
Okay, so say Andrew Tate offered your daughter $300,000 to be his assistant and he really takes care of her, she has benefits. Would you still let her work for him?
I'm not going to let her do anything. That's her choice, ultimately. I would advise against it because I think that's a very short-term prospect. I don't know if Andrew Tate's going to be around for the next 5 years or so.
If he gave her like a couple $100,000 to be his assistant, would you let her do it?
$250,000.
You would let her do it?
I wouldn't let her do it. I'll let her make those own decisions.
And if she says yes, you would still not give her the stamp of approval?
My daughter is my own person. Yes, absolutely. I would let her do what she wanted to do. But as a father, I would have strong feelings.
Why?
Protection, you know?
Look, there is strong evidence out there that guy's a literal sex trafficker.
I don't think that anything that he did, anything he's accused of, human trafficking, I don't think that's true. I think that he called it out perfectly before it even happened.
How do you feel about the Romanian government seizing all his cars and keeping him until jail until the end of February?
Free the boy. Honestly, I think that what he's going through right now is some.
What if he gives her a really good opportunity, multiple six figures, she's his assistant, he takes care of her?
It's hard to believe because he's going to jail for his activities in Romania.
What's your problem with her wanting to take that?
I would hope, after me being her dad, that she wouldn't be down for it, but it's up to her.
Didn't he get arrested?
Yeah, they actually took him for human trafficking, but they haven't found any evidence They actually seized all his cars.
They seized all of his cars, like all 9 levels.
Bugatti.
He deserves it.
Why?
He's a little rough around the edges. He's a little misconstrued. I just wouldn't want my daughter to work for her because I think he just went to jail for child sex trafficking.
They tried to put him on that, but there hasn't been any evidence so far.
No evidence?
No evidence.
But he was tried in Romania. It's a different judicial system, right?
Right, but they still haven't found any evidence.
Well, lack of evidence is lack of crime.
You mentioned like he's a human trafficker and everything, but there's no evidence to prove that.
Then you've created a false hypothetical. Like that guy, there is strong evidence that he is.
Wait, where?
Literally his like straight up voice message.
So even if he offered her the couple $100,000 to be his assistant, you would still not let your daughter work for him?
Yeah, you keep a little bit of dignity, you know? You are a straight up person. Like, oh, someone offered me $1 trillion to go do the worst thing ever. Yeah, I'm not going to do it.
All right, what would you say to all the people that would say no? They wouldn't let their daughter work for him. Why do you think they say that?
They hear the way he says some things. I understand. Like, there's definitely been some things that he said were on the first time I heard it, I was like, all right, he probably should have said that differently.
Like what?
Like there's some like he said some things about girls and like just like I don't know. It makes it sound like oh like you're in control of these women, yada yada. He had an interview with Piers Morgan where he kind of like expanded on the topic and he kind of he talked a little bit more in detail about what he really meant. And he was like, yeah, like obviously they can do whatever they want. They're their own human being, but as a man, it's your duty to protect women. This and that. So like, yeah, when I tell you like, oh, don't go out unless it's with me, yada yada, it's like a piece of advice, but it's not like I'm trying to be controlling. You got 2 choices. You can either sit down and be a bitch, or you can stand up and build yourself up. All right, make sure you choose the right choice.
What's your most unpopular opinion?
My family owns slaves. Whoa. That's probably my most unpopular.
That's not an opinion. That's just a fact.
That's just a fact.
Wait, how does your family own slaves?
I'm against it. Slavery. But if you go back a few generations, unfortunately, yeah.
Okay. Well, my most unpopular opinion is that tomato is probably a vegetable. If you're talking about it in culinary purposes, I've got. God damn.
Bro, can you please elaborate on how your family owned slaves?
I won't elaborate on it, but it is a fact.
How did you fact check that?
I didn't fact check it. It was brought to me, and I was like, oh, that's unfortunate.
Okay. Well, there you guys have it, folks.